The hydrogen infrastructure is obviously the elephant in the back of the room because it has to be economically viable. The automakers, energy suppliers, and government must make a collaborative leadership commitment. We cannot be the sources of the hydrogen infrastructure. We can produce the vehicles that can run on that. We need to lower the investment risk, and we need to encourage customer acceptance. To do E85, it's pretty easy. You put the E85 in the tank, it's almost just like you're normally used to doing right now. To do a hydrogen refill, the PSI of those is over 7,000 PSI, so it's a totally different type of environment, and it's a totally different mindset in the driver too. So that's a hurdle that has to be overcome a little bit at a time. Those familiar with it can probably do it every day, but those who are not familiar with it, it will be a little more of a jump and kind of a trust mode until they start utilizing it on a more consistent basis. As far as driving the future, what we execute and how we execute over the next 5 years will shape the next 50 years. All of us play a role, and like I said, GM's looking at many different facets of powertrain sources based on the fuel provided, and we're trying to look at better fuel economy at the same time, and transparency to the driver to make sure that it's easy for them to drive that vehicle and they have no type of feedback or pushback from getting that vehicle too. So, petroleum based fuels can no longer be the single source of energy. They may be a backup source, but they can't be the only source. GM is working aggressively to become part of the solution. GM believes energy diversity is the key, and we have a global team working to meet the needs of the changing world. So like the flex fuel is being done in Brazil, it's being done with Saab in Europe, and it's being done in the US. So this is a global development process being done by engineers in Australia and in every continent. So they're all trying to come to the same answers by utilizing their various types of knowledge. I guess that really kind of ends where I was coming from, but I guess I want to say too, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, in spite of the economic struggles we're going through right now, all of these programs are a go. They're all going forward, nothing is being held back. So the Volt's still a go, the fuel cells are a go, and the E85 are all a go. So I guess going forward, we're going to make these vehicles work. We're going to make them economically available to the customer. You can't have a $100,000 vehicle because that cuts out too much of the population. So even the Volt's going to be priced at a level that the normal consumer can afford to buy, and then take advantage of the fuel economy and of the new expertise and the evolution of the vehicle too. So are there any questions I can answer or help anybody with out there? Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a good question. The question was Volkswagen is going to be building a plant here in the Chattanooga area, and they're going to be coming out with a diesel hybrid. And the question was, does GM have anything on the board as far as a diesel passenger car or the diesel hybrid? And right now, that combination hasn't really been put forward. Like I said, we're doing the hybrid with the gas. With 2010, there's the new restrictions, the new requirements on the diesel engines, which from a high side, from the pickup trucks and everything, is going to add quite a bit of cost to those diesel engines. I know that they were looking at it. That's why the 4 or 5 liter diesel engine that we were going to introduce was going to fit into that quite well. I think right now that's been kind of put on a hold pattern, but they're evaluating all the different types of alternative fuels right now to get whatever would be best for the customer though. But that's a good question. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Well, what will create it is the same sources that are creating it now. And I guess what we're looking at is, like I said, there's a lot of untapped off-peak time where the electricity is being created. And I guess also looking at it too is the emissions from the vehicle will be down to almost a nil amount. So it's a trade, it's a give and take as far as the creation of electricity versus the creation of petroleum. But in studies done, it's still on the plus side as far as electricity. And the emissions that are coming out of that vehicle at the same time will be much less than a petroleum vehicle too. But yeah, they're trying to look at the grid patterns and and talking to the power companies at the same time. There's a lot of work being done between GM and a lot of high-level power companies to make sure that everything's in, the synergies are correct for doing that. So there's not an undue demand, or there's not an undue spike which raises the cost to everybody else too. So they're trying to make sure, and that's part of educating the consumer too, to make sure that they refuel that vehicle at an off-peak time and not at a peak time. So, but yeah, that's a good question, and it's something it's already being looked at, believe me. Yes? Yes, correct, yeah. Yeah, there'll be a plug in into your home in the normal 120 outlet, yeah. Yeah, it'll be a normal plug, yeah. Yeah, the volt plug is going to be a plug that can go right into your garage, yes. Yes, yeah, the question was, in driving the Volt, let's say, and you run out of electrical power, do you have to flip a switch to go to the gasoline backup? No, that will happen automatically from the car. It'll be transparent to the driver almost. There might be an instrument on board, but that'll happen automatically. It won't be something that you'll have to do from a manual switch or anything on the vehicle. Did you have another question? Pardon me? They haven't given any costs yet. They really haven't come out with anything. So I would venture to say that it would be in the $30,000 range, but they haven't given me a cost. That could be $30,001 or $39,000, but they haven't really given us that yet. Oh, the plug. Oh, that I do not know. I don't know that. Yes. Well, the reliability between the electric motor and the gasoline motor, there's still a lot of testing going on with that, actually. But the one part of that, with the electric motor and the electric battery, actually, there's an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty on that. So they've extended that because there just hasn't been enough real-life feedback on it. And so that's something we're going through now. And there's Volts out running around now. They're getting feedback on it. And so they'll have a better idea, because obviously if it's under warranty, the cost will come back to GM. So we want to make sure that the vehicle and the battery and the motor we put out there run as sound and as efficiently as the engines we currently have out there in our gasoline engines too. Okay, well, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much, and enjoy the expo today.